Okay. Hold on. Bum, 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 bum. No, this should be fine. Okay. I think we're live. That's excellent. Except for the image over there. I'm gonna see if I can fix that. Let's see. Let's remove this. And still trying to figure out a few things. Active. Yeah, okay, this is correct. Well, okay. So yeah, my image should be up there in the corner. I hope you can hear this. Anyway, I'm going to start making a character sheet for a game that I created a few months. Yeah. So okay, I'm going to make a new character sheet. It's for a role-playing game that I created some 4 years ago. So the story behind it is kind of funny. I don't want it to be A4. Okay, the story behind it is kind of funny. So on, I think it was on sometime between Christmas and New Year's Eve, I was just lying awake in bed, and do this and this height. Yep. So I was lying awake in bed one night, and I started thinking, well, I have this idea for a role-playing game, and it was very simple. I thought it was really clever and stuff. It was supposed to be very simple, very easy. Easy to learn, quick to master, things like that. And decided to call it Grim Fictions. So the game is basically based on the idea of using a regular 6-sided die, or a number of 6-sided dice that will. Okay, I'm just going to keep it like this. It involves using a number of 6-sided dice, determined by your traits, and so and then you have a difficulty ranging from 1 to 8. At least one of your die needs to match the difficulty, or it has to match or be greater than the difficulty, or as I said, I called it a diff. So let's start with the basics. I'm just gonna write in the title here somewhere. It's called Grim Fictions. Well, you may have noticed that the difficulty goes higher than some of the dice. Than the dice that are being used, and that is intentional. There are certain things that are just impossible to succeed at. Okay, I'm going to add some. Help us here. Let's go 3. And here 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sure. Let's go 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3. And at the bottom as well. 1, 2, 3. Okay. There are certain things that are just impossible to succeed at. So it is technically impossible to succeed at certain things. And that's the idea with Grim Fictions. There are things that are impossible, but you're going to try anyway. Let's call this title. And then create a new layer. Okay. So what do we need? We need traits. So we're going to do traits here. Traits. Let's go a little higher. 24 is good. 24 is good. Traits. Traits. Like this. Sub. Go like this and do this. Okay. Where was I? Yeah. Yeah, there are certain things that are impossible, but you can still try and fail. And failing is part of the fun. The way I wrote it was just things are messed up. Things are going to stay messed up, and the game pretty much, the idea with the game was that things were always working against you, and I'm gonna tweet a little bit, remind people that I'm live, and currently live on YouTube, creating a new character sheet for a personal RPG. Mine hashtag Grim Fictions, and yeah. Okay, reminding people that I'm live. Okay, because I'm so much fun to watch. Anyway, Grim Fictions is a game where everything is working against you. And well, yeah, everything is working against you, and pretty much everything is a mess. Well, things are difficult, and things get worse. It was based on the idea of conditions. Each condition caused penalties, and it had some interesting ideas. Okay, let's start with the traits. So yeah, let's call this traits. And I have the original character sheet here. I'm just going to show you a little bit. Oops, here it is. So I don't know if you can see the mouse clearly enough. These are the traits over here. For example, there's 6 here, and the big circles over here underneath the Grim Fiction, and here's the name of the character. And the idea was that you could print this out and you had 4 character sheets on one piece of paper. But it's very small. It was supposed to be, but I want to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit clearer. The one that I'm doing now is for an A4 sized piece of paper. It's what do they call it? Hold up. It's called, I can't remember what it's called. A international paper size. I have no idea, but I want to make it a bit smaller. Anyway, I have the first. It's called Brawn. Circle. Make a circle. Circle, circle, circle. Something like this. I'm not sure about the size though. But I want it to be clear. This. Okay, maybe I'm going to make it a little bigger, because, well, if you watched some children's show, a specific children's show, you might know that bigger is better. Anyway, I want to put it here. Move this 10 pixels. I think it's 10 pixels. Anyway, I want to. Well, I'm gonna change this stuff. Change this letter, but I'm gonna copy this, or specifically, I'm gonna copy this, or more specifically, I want to group this, then I want to copy this, then I want to paste this, and then I want to put this here, except that I want to do what? Yeah, no, I was wrong. I don't want to group this. I want to ungroup this right now, and then I want to move this over here, and then over here, move this over here like this, and make this something like that. And yeah, that's too close. Too close. This is too far. Okay. Then I want to do this. Copy, paste. Okay. And once more with feeling. And then I'm gonna fix up all the words, because we don't want the same word over and over again. Let's see. So we have Brawn. I'm going alphabetically. alphabetically. Over here, charisma, dexterity, intelligence, and vitality, and will. So these are the 6 traits. And the traits are measured from 1 to 6. So you have you can have and the number and the rating of your trait determines how many dice you get to roll. And for the mechanic works, how the mechanic works is that you only need 1 die to match or surpass the difficulty or the diff. So if you, for example, if the difficulty, the diff is 4, the more dice you roll, the more likely you are that at least one of them is going to be 4 or 5 or 6. It's a rather easy difficulty. Anything that's slightly challenging, I think, was I set at 5. Yeah, if you go to my website, you can actually find the game as I wrote it. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to make another one like this and paste this over here, and these are going to be 2 of the main conditions that are in the game, or yeah, the mechanics. Copy this. I do a lot of copy pasting in my character sheets. It's mostly just copy paste, more copy paste. Yeah, I think this is about right. And voila. And voila. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because that's all in the wrong place, is I'm going to move this up here and then move it down. Okay, so now we have traits again, but these are actually going to be called conditions? Question mark? Let's see. How much space do I have? A lot of it. Okay. So I was actually just planning to use half this page to make a character sheet. It's actually turning out to be a lot bigger than I expected it to be. So I am going to so I have to rethink this. Goose Frabam or something like that. Well, at least I don't want the conditions to be over there. The conditions take up much bigger space than this, and so undo. That was not intentional. Okay, so I'm going to make a new one. I'm just going to change the orientation like this. Okay, then I'm going to open up the rulers, and I'm going to put one of these in the middle. Where is the middle? It usually clicks on there. Middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make 3 two character sheets at the same time. This, and another one over here, and here. Two, three, and everyone's happy. So copy, paste, Graphictions over here. It's much easier to work with text boxes than actual just text items like in quick write Graphictions. But then I can't actually stretch them out. It just goes like this. So, but in the more recent version of Adobe Illustrator, I can double click this and create a text box over this. But if you click the text and you just click and drag, you create a box, and that's great. That's excellent. That's exactly how I want it. Anyway, make another one. Actually, no, delete that one. Why? Because, and then make a new layer like this. Okay, this one is called title. This one is called traits. And then we're going to find the traits. And we're gonna copy all the traits. And we're gonna have fun. Or, yeah. Copy. Paste. So, traits. Excellent. Okay. And then we'll have to find here. This is pretty much half the page, I think. Oh, not even close. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put conditions at the bottom of this, and it's going to be much fun. Yeah. Boom. Okay. Not really sure what changes to make. Except intelligence. It's such a long word. Can I change this into smarts? I'm not sure. Changing the name of a trait just so that it fits better on the character sheet is, I think, a valid reason to change the word. In any case, I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, and it's going to be marvelous. Anyway, I have copy, paste, and this is going to here. So, okay, this is going to called bleed in. Bleed. I had this. I actually have the rule book as I wrote it, No, I called it bleeding. Okay. Bleeding. Actually, I have the rulebook on second screen so that I can read it as necessary. And bruised. And bleeding and bruised are two of the biggest and most important conditions in the game. Bleeding and bruised work by. So what I want to do here though is bleeding and bruised are actually not unlike any of the other conditions. They are okay. So bleeding and bruised. Unlike any of the other conditions, both bleeding and bruised have a rating from 1 to 6. All other conditions cause you a penalty of -1, -2, or -4. -1, -2, -4. Bleeding and bruised work in a way that when you suffer damage, you suffer bleeding. When you get up to 6 bleeding, you have you risk dying. And when you've gotten that far, okay, so yeah, it both goes up to 6. When you've gone up to when you've gone to 6, bleeding 6, you risk dying. And well, yeah, that's kind of it. Like this. Won't get to the edges. Not sure how to explain it. So okay, you get attacked. A successful hit is enough to cause you a little bit of damage, but not much. If you hit your target, the target suffers 1 bleeding. It's automatic. You can't get away from it. The target makes a vitality roll against the damage rating of the attack. The diff is determined by the weapon or the attack or whatever. If that succeeds, he only suffers that 1 bleeding. If it fails, he suffers that 1 bleeding and 1 other physical condition, or whatever condition fits the attack. But the target chooses what condition he suffers, what second condition he suffers, and that condition can be another bleeding. The bleeding doesn't cause, well, as it is written right now, each bleeding causes -1 penalty to all rolls, but I'm going to eliminate that. Bleeding doesn't cause any penalties, but if you suffer too much bleeding, you risk bleeding out and dying, because bleeding also, every few minutes you have to make another vitality roll, and the diff is equal to the number of bleeding conditions you've accumulated so far. So if you have bleeding 5, the diff is 5. The more bleeding you have, the more difficult it is to actually avoid bleeding out. So at that point you just continue bleeding out, and eventually you suffer you get to bleeding 6 and almost certain death. So yeah, one of the goals of the game was that, or kind of a subtitle was that, in Grim Fictions it's difficult to kill someone, but it's very easy to die. Bruised works in a similar way. It goes from 1 to 6. But each time you suffer a new bruised condition, you make another vitality roll. If that roll with a diff against a diff equal to bruised conditions. If that roll fails, you are knocked out. But that's it. And if I remember correctly, which I don't have to because I have it written down here. Yeah, no, you can. Oh yeah, okay. So I actually don't have it written down here. If I remember correctly, it works pretty much the same way as bleeding, but so if you would suffer 2 bruised conditions, you can choose to suffer another kind of condition instead of bruised, or something like that. Memory is getting foggy. It was 4 years since I wrote this, and I haven't been reading up on my notes. So, but that's bruised. I have, as you can see, I set up 2 other conditions which are kind of a free conditions or something like that. They would work in a similar way as bleeding and bruised, but as of yet they are undetermined. So it is not decided yet what these conditions are, and it can be setting specific. So for example, one idea that I had was that one of those conditions would be, for example, just we should call it, we could call it blood. It was a vampire kind of thing. So it was your blood points, essentially, how much blood you had, which would be measured in conditions. Another one that is actually from the mechanic as I wrote them was something called Silbert, which was a werewolf kind of thing. And each point, Silbert would work like the bleeding condition, except that werewolf can heal bleeding much faster than they can heal Silbert. So any weapon that would, any silver weapon would cause the Silbert condition and not the bleeding condition. Okay. So now we have some extra smaller conditions that I'm going to fill up here. For example, we have copy this and paste it over here. So I'm going to do something really clever. Or so. Make this smaller. And make this smaller. Transform, scale, uniform, 50. Okay, so half the size. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like this. So this is much smaller. Okay, so being knocked out was called KOD. This is the first one. And copy, paste it. One, two, three, four, five. And this one will be called KODI dying. More like this. And I will put it over here, I think. Okay, so now we have two conditions. Something like this. And currently have just one person viewing, which I sorely suspect that is myself. So yay, I guess. Okay. That's always fun. I like talking to myself. It's like my own little personal party. Okay, like this. Yep, this is fine. I think I'm going to lower it by one each. It's a boring process, but anyway. Okay, now this one I want to keep, and that's it. Then we have Chrome and surprised and frightened and exhausted. I also have blinded, but I can fit in some more here, I guess. Ooh, I can put in drunk. Okay, we're gonna select all these. We're gonna move them over here. I'm gonna copy and paste this. I'm gonna move this over here. So here we're gonna have blinded. Oops. Oh, what did you do? Drunk. Gonna have scarred. I'm picking some from the madness, condition, hallucination, death, and blinded, terrified, frightened, surprised, shaken. Being shaken is when someone jumps at you, when something terrible happens, or when you just realize how much trouble you're in. Suffering from the shaken condition gives you a -1 penalty to any roll to resist any further attempts at frightening you. Yay! You can suffer shaken condition multiple times, up to as many times as your rank in your will trait +1. If you suffer another shaken condition beyond that, you become frightened instead. Each shaken condition is removed every few minutes in a calm environment. I had completely forgotten about this. So it might actually be a clever idea to include shaken here instead, and how to do this, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. I know how to do this. So I'm gonna do this. Copy. I'm gonna delete. No, wait, I'm not going to delete that. What am I doing? I'm going to move this. Oh, I have to get rid of 4 of these. I'm gonna get rid of this, I think. Sorry guys. And this. Sorry guys. And I'm gonna turn you into... why did I do that? I'm gonna turn you into blinded. And then I'm going to move you guys down here. Hold on. Man, this shouldn't be this hard. Oh, I know. Group this. Group this. Group. Okay. There. Done. Finished. And then I'm going to move this here, like this, right, oh, like this, then I'm going to copy this, and, damn it, I really hate this, here, shaken. There. I love panicking. Such a rush. Okay, so shaken can be suffered multiple times. So yeah. Now we have. Okay, so what I wanted to do next was to have some boxes. No, not like this. More like this. Empty it and border it. And take you, copy you, paste you, put you in the middle, put you over here. -1. Okay, like this. Then I'm going to copy, paste, move you down, then approximately like this, like so. Turn you into -2. Finally. This, and you will be called -4. I'm gonna fix this like this. Okay, so now we have space for -1 penalties over here. We have -2 penalties over here, and then we have -4 penalties over here. So we can just write them in. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, this. Move you up here. Boom, 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 boom. Like this. Okay, so then another thing that I did was that I had something called skills. Each trait had their own set of skills. I'm not really sure if I'm happy with how that goes. I'm just thinking more like opposite of conditions, that +1, +2, +4 kind of thing. I'll fix this a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking something more like +1, +2, +4, and have it less rigid and more more abstract. So you could have, actually I was just going to have +1 and +2 actually, now that I think about it. So that's what I'm going to do. Game in the making, folks. This. This. And... no, wait. Move this a little bit. I'm actually getting kind of tired. It's +2 and +1. So the skills only go up to +2, which I think is a good thing. But going to copy you, and it's going to be called conditions. I'm going to make a new one called skills, and I'm going to paste you over here and move you over here. So much fun, so much fun. I have no idea why I haven't. Okay, so easier way of doing this is to do this. This and this and this. Okay, these are conditions, those are skills. And copy this, paste it over here. I'm gonna call this skills with a stead, because why not? So the idea I have with this is that we can have a general skill that is measured in +1, and then you can have a more specific skill that is a +2. So you could have firearms, and that's +1 because it's so generic or general. It covers a lot of weapons. But you can then have a more specific skill. For example, well, actually rifles would be too broad as well, so that would possibly go on to +1. But you could have, for example, a Desert Eagle, and that would be +2. There are a few things that are not covered on this character sheet. For example, in the core book, as we can call it, in the core book, you have the option of learning spells, and well, spells are not covered on this character sheet, obviously. I kind of liked how I did spells, but I might do them differently with this. Depends on what I want to do with it. Actually, I think it's better that I stick to the book as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do 2 different versions of this character sheet. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it right over here. And then I'm going to take everything in this, copy, paste, and I'm going to move it all the way over here. And I just realized that I'm whispering to myself. Wow. Okay. Pick everything here except this. Copy, paste it. And I'm going to move it over here. skills. Is it? Yep, I'm actually holding down the shift key just so that I don't, just to move it in a straight line. So there you have it. And I'm going to delete you and delete you. So now we have two versions of the character sheet. On one hand, we have the skills as I plan on doing the changes. On the second hand, that's over here. On the second hand, on the other hand, we have this version of the skills, which is more like what is fits better in the current version of the game. So if you want to pick up the game on my website, you can do that, and you can use the right side of the character sheet for that game as in its current edition. I'm also going to do this, and I'm going to this, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to, can I find a, oh wait, no, borders, dashed, like this, dashed line, great, excellent, okay, so now we have dashed the line. Okay, so now I'm going to show you without the guides. Okay. I actually need to sneeze. Wait. No, it's not happening. Okay, so this is the character sheet for Grim Fictions. There's no room for a name, don't worry about it, you're not going to use it much anyway. Yay. I'm going to actually move this to the title area. So yeah, I'm also going to label this character sheet with my name and stuff. So yeah, I recommend that you check out my website. There's a link in the description below that leads directly to the Grim Fictions section of my website. So if you're interested in checking out the game mechanics and such, yeah, go right ahead. Made a character sheet in an hour. I'm gonna finish my beer, and then I'm going to sleep. And I'll see you again later when I create another character sheet for some other game. Okay. Yeah.